Hello everyone, welcome to video lecture on software architecture and design pattern, module 2, analysis of a system. We have seen in the previous videos about implementing our design, add new books, issue book and member, member transactions. So now we are going to see the code segment of implementing our design part, printing transactions. So we know that library provides a query that returns an iterator of all the transactions of a member on a given date, particular date, and this is implemented by passing the query to appropriate the member object. So member object. So now we will see that one public iterator. So whenever we need to take it as a complete transaction, so iterator will be used here. Types get transaction of calendar date, so open list result equal to linked list. So all the data or transaction details all will be stored in the linked list. So now here a loop will be taken these cases for. So in the iterator equal to transaction dot iterator method and iterator has dot has next, so that a loop up to this will be taken if transaction. So here transaction equal to transaction of iterator dot next. So if one condition we are going to check here. So if transaction dot on date method again will be going to check here. So result dot add transaction, then close this if loop, and whatever we have taken that for the condition will be ended in the for loop. Iterator has dot next, that is the condition of for loop condition will be ended this here, and return result dot iterator. So all the printing transaction, so all the details will be available in this return result dot iterator. So next we will discuss library returns null when the member is not in the member list. So this we had seen in the sequence diagram also. Otherwise an iterator to the filter collection is written, the user interface extract the necessary information and display it in the particular prepared format. So this the following segment of code which we are going to explain that user interface, the mainly we are concentrating user interface which extract the necessary information and display it in the particular prepared format. So what type of the information need to be displayed at the transaction details, the on date, so date wise or how many like that duration of the date, author or some book or title wise, or the depending upon the prepared format of the entire library management system. So this code says publish. So now we have taken the get transaction because getting all the transaction details will be taken here because displayed in the particular prepared format. So public void get transactions. So now iterator type here the result, member ID that is string, so equal to get token. So we are taking the enter member ID. So the usually string type of the return type here, member is going to enter the ID. Now we need to check with the calendar date. So whenever they enter the member ID, that we know that date will be important here, because transaction details are all the detail which depends upon the particular date wise. Calendar date equal to get date. So the method we used here, get date, this is getting the date from the by default from the or fetching the code from the libraries, system libraries. So here please enter the date for which you want to, or we can the plus symbol we have to record as a month, says and dd and y1. So that is the month, date and year. So that is our preferred format. So we'll be taking that month means January. Assume that 01. So date will be taken, the January date, that particular month will be taken. So here how we can store in that one, result equal to library dot get transactions. So usually required that is the member ID along with the date, which date and which member has need to get all the, particularly in the which that is we had prepared format in which he need to get all the displayed information. So how we can how we can display the particular information of particular person. So that is the result equal to library dot get transaction of member ID comma date. So if result equal to null, this condition we need to check because it is a validation. So validation is very important. How we are going to check that validation? So if result equal to null, so we need to check system.out.println, that is print invalid member ID. So this is the case we need to check whether we need to enter a valid member ID. So otherwise we need to check this condition. Else usually we are going, because a member ID is in a valid case, then we are going for the else part. So in the else we need to take here in the while condition is there, small condition we need to check while result dot has next. So has next will be taken condition. What is that condition? Says that transaction of this transaction equal to transaction of result dot next. So that will be, because has next will be going to check that whether that book has been held by the other member or not. So that is going to check here. So this system dot output again print transaction dot get type is what type of the this has. So has next of that one, and transaction get title. So finally we'll get all the transaction get title of the which title and which type of the book, all details will be taken by this one. So finally we'll be print as system.out.println there are no more transactions. So once we need to take that all the result dot next. So if there is nothing to display the another information, so we are going to just discuss or display the there are no more book transactions. So this is about library returns the null when the member is not in the particular member. So we'll continue with placing and processing holds. This is the small segment of snippet of code will be explained here. Placing and processing holds. So design part, implementing the design part of this placing and processing hold. So we had seen all these class diagram and a respective sequence diagram in the previous videos. So when placing a hold, the information about the hold is passed to library, which check the validity of the information and which create a hold object. So this we had seen in the previous class diagram and the sequence diagram. So here private list holds equal to new linked list, public void place hold, so that hold object will be created here, that we have taken hold equal to new linked list. So place hold, that hold of hold hold of that hold object and member type. So holds dot add hold, so that we are taking that when we are placing a hold on the particular book, add hold method will be taken. So next, the book here, the list books on hold member, which keeps a collection of all the active hold the member has placed, whoever the active hold member, how or when they are going to place in particular books processing. So in the member class, we also generate a particular transaction whenever a hold is placed. So when that person is placed to the particular hold, so we are also generating complete transaction of hold is placed for this particular person. So here that code is public void place hold of the hold transactions dot add. So that is the transaction dot add method will be taken here. New transaction hold place and hold dot get book, another is dot get title. So all three will be taken, because books on hold we need to check all the three possible conditions here. So books on hold dot add hold method we need to take it, so which will give the a complete transaction of whoever the hold a particular books. So here, to process a hold, the library which invokes the next hold method in the book, which returns the first valid hold. Okay, so now we will see the segment of code process hold for the library. Whenever the library which invokes the next get next hold method. So whenever the taking the get next hold method in the particular book, so which returns the first valid methods. Okay, valid hold. So we need to check public hold get next hold method will be taken for list condition here. Again, or loop condition we need to check it here. List iterator, so of iterator equal to holds dot list iterator and iterator dot has next. So again, hold equal to hold of iterator dot next, that many times we need to take it, because the loop. So how many has the hold in the particular has next. So that when that condition is ended, so which will back to that iterator dot remove. So by default which will come to the iterator dot remove method will be called here. Condition we need to check that one condition is there, if hold dot is valid, so that we are going to check. So if hold dot is valid method will be checked here. Return of hold, so that so both will be written here, so particularly and return the null. So this is about the process a hold in the library implementation of design part. So next is has here we need to check that hold class. The hold class is given below. We'll check in here. There are no modifier for the attribute here. We need to check, since a hold cannot be changed once it has been placed. The method is valid. Check if the hold is still valid. So here again a snippet or segment of code will be given for hold class. Public class hold implement serializable. So we are going to next discuss serializable and non-serializable realizable in the Java classes. Private book, member and date. So all the we have taken it as the private, declared as a private here, book, member and calendar of return type. The parameter is book, member and date. So public hold, so member, book and int duration. So because duration is required, int type, return type is int. Book is return type book only, member is the return type member, because a member and book object will be created. So this object will be created here. This dot book equal to book, another this dot member equal to member, and date equal to new Gregorian calendar date will be by default it is taking. So date dot set time in millisecond, again the by default code will be there in the libraries. System dot current time, so that is the current time, millisecond will be taken. Date dot add calendar dot date, comma, the two parameter is the add date dot add methods. One is calendar dot date and comma duration. So public member get member, so return to the particular member here. So return the member, so that we need to get public member get member method will be called, open with and return member. Next public book get book method will be used to return the book. So above one is to return the member, so this is return the particular book. Another is public calendar get date. So this method is used for get date is to used for return particular date again in the prepared format we had seen in the previous slide, MMDDAYY. So the next public boolean, so is valid. So we are going to check that method is the is valid method in this is the return type. So return we should is method is valid, we are going to check return system dot current millisecond, which is kind of going to check that condition here, less than date dot get return. So this condition will be going to and return particular hold class. So once the reference to the hold class or hold object has been found in the book, the hold is removed from the book and corresponding member as well. So both can be removed simultaneously. So whenever once the reference to the particular hold object which has been or have been found in the particular book member, book ID, particular books method, the hold is removed from the particular book as it has on the particular title of the book along with the particular book ID, and the respective member ID will be removed. So the book ID is passed to the remove hold method in member, which is shown in the below code. So next here this part of the code will be taken, that how the book ID is passed to the remove hold. So now how we need to the book is that we have been found that one the book object, okay, which is hold is removed. So now once that is followed by that one corresponding to the member as well, the book ID is passed to the, because we know that is the particular book ID has been held by the other book. So that book ID is passed to the remove hold method in a member, because both will be required here, which has shown in the following code. So here boolean true or false will be taken here. Public boolean remove hold method will be used here to return type of the string book ID. Boolean is equal to that is removed equal to false. So that we need to declare first. There is a that condition will be checking for that we need to check that for loop. So that is the list iterator. So list iterator, that iterator equal to book has on hold dot list iterator method will be used, comma semicolon, iterator dot has next method will be checked. Up to this method will be checked. So now we need to take hold, so that hold object of equal to hold of the iterator dot next will be checked here. Next, string id equal to hold dot get book. So get book of method, a particular get id of that particular, so book id where we need to check on, that is the hold dot book dot get book method of get id will be checked. So if id is equals to the book id, then we need to check transactions dot add, in the particular method transactions dot add new transactions. So that is going to be checked here, hold removed comma hold dot get booked into or dot get title. So both will be checked here, because remove, whenever remove hold method execution in the member, so we need to check all the transaction details of transaction add. So in that new transactions, that is the hold removed will be taken, comma hold dot get book will be checked into or dot get title of the particular. So remove equal to true. So once this condition is passed, then remove, whenever that we need to set remove equal to true. So iterator dot remove. So next we are going to the iterator dot remove will method will be called. So whenever that book will be completely so removed. Now close this if condition. Again we need to close the for loop, because this will end for this for loop, because in the for loop we have taken books on hold. So we need to check the condition here on hold, that is the iterator of iterator dot has next, whether next person whether having that has hold of the particular book or not, that will be checked. So that finally return the removed. So we can say the return the removed. So now we are going to discuss storing and retrieving the library object. So this is the last part where we have to discuss about Java serialization. Another part is storing the data. So actually in our approach, long-term storage of the library data uses in the Java serialization mechanism. So which is going to be taken in the Java serialization method, like that read object, write object, of object, object input stream method, object output stream. So that will be taken. So what is that one? How class can be implemented serializable interface. So that we need to take it as the Java serialization. So another is storing the data. So what should we do? Store the entire data. That is the main thing part we need to discuss about here. Observe the actually library, both catalog and member list object. So in terms of the reference to the book and member object respectively. So in continuation it hold object referred to by the book object and member object whatever and all. So here we simply store all the library object of data will be stored. So that is the major task, how we are going to store the particular data. So we would like to keep the details out of this and user interface. Even though user interface has a save method, we know that whatever the data instant it will be saved method, which simply invoke a save method in the library object. So that code we part of code we have taken here, private void save. So because that UI user interface have instant saving the whenever the particular staff or the user can enter the data into the library management system. So private void save, if library dot save, the method will be used here if condition print all the details. So the print library has been successfully saved. So whatever the data we are going to enter it, so particularly data will be saved. else system.print here there has been error in the saving. There is a particularly error, so which we need to address it later. So next is maintaining the singleton property. So this is the thing, the process of actually retrieving the data. Process of retrieving the data has some we know the subtle complications associated with, particularly library, member list, catalog object or singleton. So now how we can address this one? They cannot have more than one instance. So using serialization mechanism in the Java, so what we can do, it is now possible to serialize an object and deserialize to get a second instance. For example, we have the following pseudocode. So this is the pseudocode of the library serializable of the one instance and non-serializable deserializable of the another instance. So library equal to library dot instance serialize library onto the disk file, because maintaining in all singleton property in that particular part. Library 2 deserialized version of library 1, update of the add member, update of library 2 or delete a particular book. So this maintenance will be taken in the particular part, how we are going to do it. So that is the major task, how we are going to take the this maintaining the singleton properties. So this diagram actually a pitfall in using serializable with singleton. So we had discussed about singleton these things. So in that diagram, so what has happened? It has the library of the initially obtained instance of library object, particularly in the line 1. So we have taken instance of library object, another library, again instance of library, another library 2, you can call it as in the line 1, line 2. So library and library 1 and library 2 deserialized version. So now we are going to take the serialized version here. Here, to understand what essential problem actually it is. Recall whenever it is required singleton, what is the purpose of singleton? We know we are going to study in the design pattern, singleton design pattern. So singleton pattern is always to ensure that a class has only one instance and which provide a global point of access. That is the purpose or intent of the singleton class. So that we need to take it. So here an instance go through the instance method, we need to weigh the restricting the creation of the mechanism of deserialization. So that is the our particular advantage of the serialization and deserialization. So along with there are how we there are a lot of code part will be given, so which will we are not going to taken this part. So now this is the last part of this model, dealing with static and with dealing with static field and is non-singleton. So whenever having this the singleton member server which I have shown in the below code, which holds the ID counter and also increment its, so time get id is invoked. Whenever the get id is invoked, so how this above the code is the below code is going to implement. So here we have taken that class member id server implement serializable. So because serializable, when you take that one, it instantly get or created by the another object which is invoked. So private int id counter, private static member id that server, private member server that id counter initialized to 1, because id how many member have been id counter means initially member count will be taken as a 1, we cannot take it as a 0. Public id server instance of that one, if condition will be taken, if server initially not equal to null, return, so new member id server, yeah, okay, else return server. So public get id will be taken. So we need to count that one. Return id counter plus plus. So obviously the all the count will be taken in the particular static field in the nonce this one. So other code not shown. Actually, this complete code will be given. How this is going to take dealing with static field in non-singleton. Whenever the non-singleton will be taking. So that we are going to take a discussion and further reading. So this is the end of the complete implementing design part of the simple library management system.